good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hey, I got it right that time. I'd like to welcome everyone in, whatever time zone that you happen to be in. And I have a new friend that we're going to have a little discussion, a little friendly conversation about crypto with. And XRP Cult is going to kick things off and give a little brief introduction of himself, his background a little bit, and if he wants to say where he lives and what he does and how he found crypto. That's kind of the thing we're going to kick around a little bit, and then just kind of see where this goes. So XRP Cult, there's your brief introduction. So say hello to everybody and let's get this thing rolling.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you for having me. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to discuss my personal experience as one of the members of the XRP community. Thank you. Also, I'd like to begin by giving you some educational background from, where I'm at and everything like that. I have a bachelor's degree in political science. I minored in pre-law. I have an associate's degree in legal assisting. My career is I work for the Superior Court of the State of New Jersey. So, with the judiciary. And I'd say that I was first introduced to not XRP, but to Ripple. And I say Ripple because that's how far back I go. I believe a buddy of mine told me about Ripple back in 2017, November. And, him and I, we were talking about the economy and things to invest in for the future. And, I was telling him about gold and silver and how you're going to want some bullions in your portfolio, but there's, something that you could hold on to, not, on paper. So he turned to me and he said, listen, get into Ripple. I said to him, Ripple, what's Ripple? And he shrugged his shoulders like this and said, I don't know. So I go, so what are you telling me about something that you don't know? He goes, I don't know. I see it all over the internet. I see it on Telegram. I see it on Facebook. It's going to be the next big thing, he's telling me. And I said, listen, I'm going to look into it because, the way that I am, given my profession and my education, I believe in research, and that's what I do. I'm just not going to jump into something because somebody says, hey, listen, this is a good idea. Get on it. I'm fully aware of pump and dumps. People pump up the price of an item, and then it's like a game of musical chairs. Somebody's left standing while everybody's sitting around. And whoever's standing, basically you're asked out. And that's what it comes down to. So I did probably about, I want to say 3 or 4 months worth of research nonstop before I even got into XRP. Yeah. And I wasn't as devoted then as I was today. I might have been doing like 2 or 3 hours here, another day, 2 or 3 hours. But, now, given as much has been going on in the entire ecosystem, I find myself doing more and more research than ever before. And I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
So, okay. So let me ask a question here at that point.
Sure.
As you were going through that process, did you find anything that raised the alarm bells that Ripple was no good? It was just crap. You didn't believe in any of it? Because the thing that has been so overwhelming for me is I've not seen them have a misstep yet. I mean, bad FUD by people who write lies in a newspaper or a magazine article, but nothing that was actually legit and true. I mean, they come up smelling roses every time I look at Ripple.
You know what? I could sit here today and I could honestly tell you I haven't seen anything. Realistically, I have not seen anything negative about the XRP ledger, about XRP, the digital asset in itself, nor the company Ripple. I mean, I'm not a paid spokesman. I have no skin in the game other than what I invested from my own pocket. I had got into plenty conversations with friends, and they would tell me, "Oh, it's a shitcoin." That's what they would tell me. They'd say, "Oh, it's centralized," or they could freeze it. And you know what? You're entitled to your opinion. Good for you, But what research or what proof do you have to back that up other than a news article from XYZ, website? I don't want to call out any particular digital asset, news, but aside from that, it's funny that you mentioned that too. Is that I chose the name XRpCult589 because all I would do is I would read these articles and ridiculous articles about how the XRP community is a cult, or 589, it didn't happen, or bearable bull, and bearable bear. Pardon me.
Guy, bearable guy, or bearable.
Yeah, bearable
bear.
guy. There you go.
Yep.
And I say to myself, everybody's bashing this community, and nobody knows the facts. And I guess from my profession, I rely on facts, and I always look at both sides of the coin. I try never to be biased in anything that I do, which is possibly why I devote as much time into researching items before I get into anything whatsoever. And I just found it just, funny how everybody would say the XRP army attacks anybody that talks negative about it. And it's a cult. So, this is why I chose the name XRpCult589. Not because, I have a whole bunch of followers, inside of the back room praying, lighting a candle to a picture of Brad. You know what I mean? But, realistically, I find the humor in what these individuals do when they try to set fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I'm not into FUD, and I'm not, praising anybody that does it. I think that that's wrong in itself. So, and then, you know what? Also, I think it's funny how they call everybody in the XRP community a bot. Why anybody with the name XRP in their title is a bot, and all this jazz. It's ridiculous. But that's why I chose the name XRpCult589, so that the record's officially clear, that you guys know that it's to get back at these naysayers. Now, continuing, I think I first really got onto an exchange and was able to make my first purchase for XRP possibly back in late March, early April of 2018. And the reason for that is because at the time when I first discovered XRP, the digital asset in itself was only on a handful of exchanges. Now, you can find it anywhere. It's on basically almost every exchange except Gemini. Why? I don't know. I don't care. It's none of my business, but, we'll cross that bridge if we ever get there,
Right.
I have zero doubt in XRP and what it's capable of. I mean, look, the scalability, the speed, the transaction fees, it's just, it outshines every other digital asset or cryptocurrency out there today. I mean, I know that we spoke earlier today, and Fiat Link, they posted on Twitter. Fiat Link posted XRP had 20 million plus transactions within trades within 1 minute.
Yeah,
that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And you know what? You look at XRP and the XRPL ledger. It's been running for years, never slowed down, never crashed, never nothing. I really commend David Schwartz for the work that him and his team are doing over there at Ripple, creating and always updating the XRP ledger. I got to give a lot of credit also to Brad Garlinghouse, because you see these business deals that these guys are making. I don't know any other digital asset that is not favored but gets more play than XRP. I mean, you look at Bitcoin, for example, and Bitcoin, as said before, it's like the Napster or the Ask Jeeves of its day. But as technology improves, so does everything else, and it just makes way for newer advancements. President Trump because I'm a resident of the United States, President Trump has a big thing with China and how they manipulate everything. And everybody even agrees and knows that Bitcoin is manipulated and controlled because the Chinese government is doing the mining over there. Now, you look at something like XRP, and knowing that representatives from the Trump administration met with representatives from Ripple Labs, to discuss the possibilities of XRP. Maybe, I don't know, I wasn't in the room. I wish I was a fly on that wall, but the fact is that I didn't see anybody from Ethereum sitting down in the White House. I didn't see anybody from I don't know, Chainlink, VChain, or yeah, exactly. And so
Dogecoin,
and you understand that you see and understand that XRP is getting the recognition that it really does deserve, but it's so undervalued. I can't speak towards why it's being so undervalued other than my own opinion. And my opinion, given my profession, given my education as a political scientist, as a pre-law minor, and working for the judiciary, I'll tell you right now, people in the XRP community, in the company Ripple itself, we are relying on regulation. Anything that you do in this life gets regulated, whether you get your driver's license and drive the car, whether you get health insurance in this country, whether you cross the street at the crosswalk or you decide to jaywalk and get, everything is regulated. You don't realize this. Even the food regulated, FDA, exactly. So it does not really matter. This is a society that is regulated by everything. Granted, it's America, home of the free, land of the brave, but I believe every society is, or every country for that matter, is regulated. They have some sort of regulations in place. But America in itself relies on regulations. And I think that that's the one thing that has been holding back the breakout for XRP. I mean, aside from that, listen, I've been invested in XRP since it was XCurrent, XRapid, XVIA. Now, we've seen the advancements and through the technology, and now Ripple created RippleNet, which combines all three programs, allowing all its users. Now, think about all the 200 plus banks and financial institutions that are signed on with RippleNet. At the flip of the switch, that's it. Everybody's going to go live with XRP. They could use it. The only thing in my mind that is preventing that right now is just the regulations. But being a political science major and knowing how the government works, even if you go to the DMV, okay, it's slow. Anything government ran is slow. You can't expect it to just jump on course tomorrow and take off. It doesn't work like that. I mean, especially because you're talking about a brand new piece of technology like cryptocurrency in general, cryptocurrency. There's a lot of things that you got to, tape that you got to cross, fine lines that you got to read between. You can't just jump in this blind and say, oh, well, we didn't know. And I think that that's one of the best things about this country is that they just don't rush in. But also at the same time, I'm sitting here waiting too. I want a moon. I really do.
So let me ask you this.
Sure.
A two-part question from the political standpoint. And again, I'm not here to bash Bitcoin, but just try to give some contrast.
Sure.
Bitcoin from a political standpoint, and this is not what Satoshi in my mind had in mind, but we're at 65% hash rate in China. From a political standpoint, with your background and knowledge of politics, do you think that there is any way under the sun that Donald Trump is going to allow Bitcoin to go mainstream when 65% of it is mined in China?
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind that he's not going to allow that. Absolutely. It's not going to fly. Absolutely not. I mean, am I saying he's going to get away with it? Get rid of it altogether in a whole? No, he's not going to, because there's too many financial institutions that are invested in Bitcoin. And being a capitalist country that we are, we rely on, corporations. Fidelity for one, Grayscale is another, and these are just very few, very few. So they're heavily invested in Bitcoin. So in my opinion, I really don't see Bitcoin ever going away. But I don't think that, like you said, Satoshi, I don't think that Bitcoin is going to be used how he or she intended
Or
that
they,
it should be.
or
Or they. Good point. Very good point. Very good point.
Okay, so I agree with you, but they could regulate the bejesus out of it and make it very difficult to use or to have. I think that they could go that route because, again, I don't believe that whoever created Satoshi, whoever it was, a group of people or Arthur Brito or whoever, that guy in Florida that ended up dying in his house that was friends with Craig Wright, whoever it was, Dave something, whoever it was, I don't think that they felt like that there was going to be 65% hash rate in China. So I believe they could clamp down the regulations on it as tight as they would like. And then from the scientific, right? Do you believe that a project that is 57,000 times less eco-friendly with AOC out there with the new Green Deal and all of the environmentalists on this planet, are you sitting here trying to tell me that you think that a project 57,000 times less eco-friendly than XRP is going to be loved by and accepted by all of the people on the planet?
Listen, you see how society is today with electric vehicles. Everybody's trying to cut back and go green. There's no way in that I could foresee, everybody standing behind Bitcoin other than maybe a store of value, which I could understand why they would do it, but also at the same time, I just listen. The cost for mining, the amount of electricity that it takes, the cost for transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain or maybe even a Lightning network, whatever you want to call it, it's still so much more compared to other things. I'm not just talking about XRP right now. I'm talking about other, other blockchains or like Ethereum, for example, it's a lot cheaper than Bitcoin, you can even run Bitcoin on the XRPL as well as other digital assets, which would be a lot cheaper, and definitely, boost up the price for XRP because you have all this momentum going, on the ledger. But I don't want to say that some things are being suppressed. I just think that at this time, people are so naive and they believe what they hear, and they refuse to do research or follow through. It's tough. It's tough because you have those Bitcoin maxis. Now, listen, I'm not saying that I only own XRP. I have other eggs in my basket, so to speak.
Me too.
And you know what? That's the way you have to be. There are other digital assets out there that are good, that do show some proof of work or have some sort of value behind it. I also at one point, invested in Bitcoin. I'm not going to say when. I'm not going to say when I cashed out. I know we spoke about that earlier today, but sometimes some things pay off, and there's a reason why these digital assets should be in existence. Listen, there's over 5,000 digital assets out there. I like your background. There's over.
That's how I feel when I'm talking to a Bitcoin maxi. It's like, come on, guys, just be practical about it. I'm not trying to down it. I own Bitcoin. I'd like it to go to $1 million. So John McAfee doesn't have to honor his word mostly. But again, I'm an investor. I'm an investor too, but I'm realistic about the real issues that Bitcoin has right now. And so it's not the Bitcoin I have a problem with in the Bitcoin maxi. It's the maxi.
I agree with you 100%. It's the people out there that are just trying to shake things up, and the naysayers that always attack the XRP community. I mean, I know that I mentioned the Lightning Network briefly before, but I mean, going back to XRP, you look at how the company Ripple designed this ecosystem, or they're in the process of creating an ecosystem surrounding the XRP digital asset. You see the positive aspects, with, Coil, Polysign, Flare, this could go on. What's that? The video game that
Cinnamon?
No, not Cinnamon, but that's a good one that you brought up.
X-Spring.
Well, okay. Look at the X-Spring initiative. They begins with an F2. For the love of me, it's just
right. I know what you're talking about, though. Yeah, they weren't trying to infiltrate into the gamer world,
right? And they donated a whole bunch of XRP, to this one company that's building this. So they have their eggs in other baskets also, and I just see how things are going and how everything's all lined up. That old cliche, get your ducks in a row. And that's what we see going on right now. We see everything lining up. And the one thing that's going to just get everything in, get the momentum going is going to be the regulations. I can't tell you when. I can't tell you how it's going to happen. I don't know. I wish I had a crystal ball. I'd probably be in a better shape than I am today. But, it's once you see the regulations take place, you're going to see Polysign just take off like that. And there's no doubt in my mind. And I know I said this before, but if you ever seen the movie Zoolander, the character Zoolander, he can't turn left. And it's a big thing. Everybody always says he has one look. Finally, he turns left, and it's glorious. Everybody's baffled. They don't know what to say. It's breathtaking. That's the way I look at Polysign. We don't know too much about it. We know, what it's basically going to do for financial institutions, but it's so hush-hush that I think that when that time comes, that everybody's going to be like, oh my God, it's.
Well, I agree with you as well. And I like the way that they're building out the entire ecosystem. It's not just, I see the Internet of Value as a whole way of we're changing the way that we're doing things as human beings, and going all digital with money. I mean, we're already 95% of the way there. I don't care. I carry maybe $10 worth of cash just to have it in my pocket, but mainly I use everything debit card. So it's not that much of a switch. And I think other people, I think so. One of the reasons that I put this background up was last year in about October, Brad Garlinghouse said that in the marathon, we were about at mile 3. And since you've done so much research and keep an active eye on the way everything is developing, where do you feel like we are now? And do you feel like that the beer cold accelerated the process to where they had to come up with the solution quicker?
You know what? I think we're on that fast track. We're definitely past mile 3. And it's a good thing that you brought that up with that whole beer cold. I like the analogy.
Thank you, Bearable Bull.
So it's like this. You look at after World War II, the United States currency became the world currency, and which is okay, fine. I wasn't around then. I don't, I have no say. I don't care. I have no opinion. I was just born into the society, But now I'm old enough and I'm living in today's day and time, and I'm seeing this transition take place. I've always said, and I've said to my friends too, how I first got into this whole conversation about Ripple, not XRP at the time, because remember I told you it was 2017.
Yeah.
Is because we were talking about the economy And I've always imagined myself that in order for us to restart, because the United States has trillions and trillions of dollars of debt. It's not like if we have vaults filled with gold that's ready to cover that debt. We have a debted system. That's how the American economy runs. And I've always thought of myself in my head to myself that maybe it's going to be like a World War III before we see a new currency take place or some sort of monetary transition. Now, because of this beer cold, you see like things are starting to make sense more and more and more. Now they're saying in the United States there's a shortage of change. People aren't paying with change anymore. Or, like you said, everybody uses debit cards. My wife says to me, why are you going to the bank? I tell her I need cash. I have to have cash in my pocket. I don't care if it's $10 or $20. But I feel that maybe I'm old school. I'm 35. So maybe I feel like I just need something in my pocket other than plastic. But also at the same time, you see statistics showing that increased use of debit cards have been going up. People using PayPal or people using just any sort of digital asset other than cash in itself, especially because of this whole Corona situation going on, So I think that the coronavirus definitely escalated this marathon that we got going on at the current moment. And it's so much so that you even see the government, I believe a couple months ago, they just said to Visa, that we're going to let you send out the next stimulus packages and all this other stuff, Now, what is Visa? Visa isn't the Federal Reserve. They're not printing cash. The Visa is just going to use a digital way to get people their money. So you see that the government is willing to make this transition to digital assets and going digital completely, devoted. So that's my perspective on that.
And do you feel like, again, from a political and a science background, I know it's not economics, but can you see that we have got any way out of the economic hole that the fractional reserve fiat system has gotten us into? I mean, the two things that are the most shocking to me is when I look at the U.S. debt clock, and we are $153 trillion in the hole for unfunded liabilities. Forget the 27 trillion on the balance sheet we can't pay year to year, but how are we going to pay 300 plus million, whoever we are going to pay those benefits to that we've promised them? And then the other thing is 70 countries appealing to the IMF for some type of economic relief. So it's not just an American problem. Oh, excuse me. The third thing, the most shocking any of all, is the derivative market growing to on the upside up to $1.2 quadrillion. I mean, the banksters made some coin on commission selling derivatives. Woo.
You know what? I like to start off by saying that I am not a financial expert. I don't have a degree in finance or economics or anything like that. But like you said, in my political science background, and this is what it all goes back to, regulation. Even the financial markets are regulated. And who regulates the financial markets? Politicians. So whenever somebody comes up on Twitter or on Facebook and they say, hey, listen, I'm a financial expert, I do ABC worth a deal, that's fine. I'm proud of you. You do what you do. You're making money, fine. But also at the same time, and you probably know your business because you follow the rules and regulations that go along with it.
Right.
It gets set by somebody, and it's definitely not the fat cat sitting in the penthouse. Like these are moves that are being made by governmental officials, and this is why and I say to everybody all the time, government regulates everything. So with that being said, I do think that there is a way out of this. Absolutely, there's a way out of this. It's not that we have to tell everybody, hey, listen, we're not going to pay our debt we're not going to tell China, hey, we're not going to pay you. That's it. Go, fly a kite. Go cook sand. We could pay them, not a problem. But what it is we have to be smart about it. XRP, the digital asset, was designed to free up liquidity. Think about all the corporations, all the banks, every government, NGO, non-government organization that's out there that has just stacks and stacks and stacks of cash just sitting there, lying dormant, with the hopes that somebody's going to come and do a transaction. Like Western Union has to keep so many funded accounts open all over the world just in case somebody wants to send money to Nigeria or Zimbabwe or Mexico or Canada, or even East Jabib. I don't know, but it's just lying there. And in order to free up that cash, XRP is the perfect digital asset to do that. Once you do that, you're going to bring the money back. You're going to get the what's this word I'm looking for? When there's too much printing, inflation. The inflation rate's going to drop, because now you're going to free up that liquidity. You're going to add more value to that dollar. At least that's the way that I see it. From my perspective, I could be wrong. I could be right. I don't know. But that's just the way that I played it out, analyzing the entire situation. So I mean, and with that being said, I think that this country, or every other country for that matter, really tends to benefit if they do just switch up the system, and just people say let's go back to gold standard. All right, we could go back to gold standard, but what's that really going to do? Maybe you might see the price of XRP shoot from 32 cents to $50. But is that because XRP really gained value, or is that because it's now competing or coinciding with gold, like the US dollar? We need to see real transactions taking place. We need to see real movement on the XRP ledger. That in itself is going to drive the price of XRP to its ultimate goal. People say $10,000. Listen, I hope it sees $10,000. I hope I see $10,000 in my lifetime. Am I going to see it tomorrow? Probably not, but am I going to see it maybe, 5-10 years down the line? I really do believe that. I really do believe so, especially with the way this economy is going, With that being said, that's how I perceive that situation of this government at least getting back on track, especially if they do decide to adopt, the digital asset XRP. It's very beneficial. I mean, it has a lot of benefits for every nation.
I agree 1,000%. And I don't know. I think that the fix has been in for a while. I think they've kind of had an idea of what they wanted to do. When I saw that Everest NT data PDF that had all the countries on the right, the XRP and the ledger in the middle, and then all the companies over on the right, I can understand why they want to do how they wanted to do that. And we've got to get away from this fractional reserve system where the banks can have $1,000 deposit and loan out 10. And we got to get away from that, because they were loaning, basically making loans on things that were not going to be able to have any return on investment. They were going to be defaulted. And I think coming up with a mortgage crisis coming up. I mean, we haven't had a mortgage crisis in the last 90 days. You know why? Everybody's been allowed to put their mortgage payments off. Well, hello. I mean, Jesus, the idea of what these people are doing is create a big old financial problem and just keep kicking the can down the road. Well, I live in the Bible Belt. We got us a big old come to Jesus moment coming at some point. I mean, you can't keep just kicking the can down the road. There's got to be some kind of a comeuppance. and here's one of the things too. I just heard the other day, the government since September 19th last year, 2019, they have put $7 trillion into the U.S. economy. And the stock market is at an all-time, is 27,000. Is it? If it's not the all-time high, it's close.
Right.
Well, do you believe that they're going to continue in from today till the 17th of August 2021? You think they're going to pony up another $7 trillion and pump it into the system with no repercussions?
Absolutely not. Listen, this is a game of musical chairs. Like I said before, I use that metaphor, but somebody's going to get stuck standing while everybody's sitting, and we're on our last leg. And that's the truth. We're just going to keep on trying to pump money into this and keep on going until it's done. I mean, think about the bailout that just occurred, March or April of this year. You're talking about $3 trillion got approved, and I believe $2 trillion, went out already with the stimulus package and bailing out all these companies or whatever the case is. Who's going to pay for that? Not you, not me, not the taxpayers, because we're already in bad shape. And it's a funny thing too, that you mentioned the whole housing market, is because my wife and I, we were looking, for homes because, they have great mortgage rates and things like that. You see these best deals going on. And I said to my wife, I said, listen, you want to wait. Just give it a couple more months. She's so gung-ho. No, let's look now. Let's do this. Let's do that. I'm like, listen, your best position is right now to hold off, because like you said, what's going to happen when, this pause or this freeze is over. And now everybody has to pay back the banks and the mortgages and rent is due and all this other stuff. You're going to see a lot of people foreclosing on their homes. And by the time that happens, you're going to find homes for very cheap. It's going to be like 2008 all over again. Like you could just swoop them up. You can't give them away. Banks are in the business to make money, not to hold on to property.
Yeah, they don't want to own it. They want somebody in the house making a payment. But I think we're heading for some major pain, and I think a lot of the pension funds are underfunded. I think we're in for a good bit of pain, but I think that the switch over to digital assets, again, depending on how they play it, depending on what they do, I personally, I kind of like the pre-allocation theory that I've heard floated around, even though I am aware that less than a month ago, David Schwartz says that, no, that's not it. But he could be under an NDA and can't say it. But I like the idea that the escrow could come from Ripple, be gifted to the IMF, and then they could pass it out to all of their member nations, then set the amount at $1,000, $2,000 in XRP, and boom, reset.
Debt Jubilee. SDR.
Yeah. Debt Jubilee, reset, let's go. Yeah. But they cannot continue with this fiat fractional reserve banking system because the bankers got too greedy. And I mean, good Lord, 1.2 quadrillion on the high side asset class. I mean, it's just, you can't make this stuff up. Glad that I made a new connection with another friend and look forward to continuing our friendship and getting back together again in the near future.
Well, thank you. I'm very fortunate also that I had the pleasure to meet you and have this interview, to be honest with you. And I really feel honored. Thank you.
Okay. Take care.
Have a good night now. Enjoy your trip.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna.
All right.